This is episode 12 of Creative Walks, and this will be a little bit more on the down and dark side. It's about all those projects that we left undone. But the story today actually has a silver lining, has a happy ending, so please stick with me. So last night, I finally started and finished editing a video. It was the second in a series that I was working on, a subject that is very dear and near to my heart, which is world music and the sharing of cultures. The thing is that I recorded this video almost 6 months ago. I should have edited and finished and released it right about that time, but I didn't. And even though it's embarrassing to admit it, it's because I was blocked. And I was blocked because the vision I had for this project as a whole seemed way beyond my reach. So I thought I would work on other things first. It was right about the time that I decided to move from Toronto to Kyiv and start this year of travel and exploration. And there was so much to be done before our journey began. And I thought that certain personal projects would have to wait, and this was one of them. So I worked on other things, other projects, but this one remained there, incomplete. And it was not like I was not doing anything, I had a lot to do, but that didn't make me feel any better. And I told myself I would get back to it eventually, and when I did, I would do it right, I'd do it in a proper schedule and all that. By the way, before I go on with the story, let me just first mention what this project is. It's called The DNA of Music, and the idea is to interview musicians from all over the world, from different cultures, where they share their instruments, their music, and at the end, they play a song that is very personal to them. So it's DNA in the sense of the musical DNA of humanity, and DNA in the sense of this deepest personal songs from one individual. As I said, I thought it was a cool project, and I even released one episode, but to be honest, I didn't have the guts to keep going. But yesterday, by chance, I remembered this phrase from this American psychologist called William James, and he said, "Nothing is so fatiguing as the eternal hanging on of an uncompleted task." So I couldn't sleep, so I said, you know what, I'll edit this video, the second episode. And it had this interview with one of my favorite singers, Stacy Arafayeva, or aka Nastasia Y, a fantastic musician from Ukraine that lives in Toronto, and like me, one who loves to connect the dots between cultures. As I was editing the video and rewatched and re-listened to what we were talking about, I first thought, oh wow, this is pretty cool, and she shared so many beautiful ideas. Why the hell am I sitting on it? But then, as I said, this would be a bit dark, my mind actually went to a dark place. I thought, what if I had died before releasing this? It was 6 months ago, I am 40, not getting younger, things can happen. I don't usually think about death and all that stuff, but for some reason it hit me hard that time. I even thought like this scenarios that go through your mind, like I thought like my wife or a friend would probably go through my hard drives and see my unfinished projects, and maybe they would release some of my stuff, and maybe this beautiful interview would see the light of day. But then it would not be about my vision for the project, it would be about me and about those things left undone. Since I'm usually a very optimistic guy, I immediately try to put a positive spin on it, and I thought it was a lesson, a warning, and something I could share with you today in this podcast. It was about all those projects we didn't finish, or we abandoned, or whose time has come and gone, or even worse, those things that we didn't even start. Or if you can think of something even worse, those things that were almost done, but we never shipped. I caught myself in this ever so common battle that all artists go through which is you have to ship your product, you have to show your work, you have to start before you're ready. And I think that's a great lesson. It also reminded me of a quote from, I think, Oscar Wilde. Experience is simply the name we give to our mistakes. And another one from Maya Angelou, I think, it's nothing will work unless you do. So finally, I wanted to share this little coincidence, a small synchronicity in this little tale that actually made me smile. In Kiev, where I am, they are mostly Orthodox Christians, and it so happens that today is St. Nicholas Day. It's a big holiday here. He is the saint of miracles, of wonders, and they hide little gifts and chocolate and small treats for little kids at night, and they open those gifts in the morning. In the video I edited, and it will come out tomorrow, Stacy sang a beautiful lullaby that was actually created by her dad. And it had a little phrase that I really liked. And then I asked Yana, my wife, who happens to be Ukrainian, to help me a little bit with the translation. And she mentioned that the song happens to mention the night before St. Nicholas Day. It's when the dad is singing the song to his son that he calls little Kozak. The Kozaks are like warriors in Ukraine. They're like defenders of the land for generations. They're usually outnumbered, usually against strong invading forces. And the stories about them are a big part of the culture, and so is the song. So the song said something like this, and it's a free translation because in Ukrainian there are many ways to interpret the lyrics, but the way that I heard it, let's say, it goes something like this. Sleep, little Kozak, in this night of St. Nicholas. There will be gifts for you, a golden package of songs, and one day you will be a warrior, and you will go to battle. And there you realize that there are not many of you, but there are even less of them. And I think he means the enemy. Maybe the translation is not perfect, but you get the idea. I thought it was very powerful. And I think in our case, as artists, or simply as people trying to put beautiful things into the universe, the big bad enemy are all those things left undone. But if we show up to the battlefield, so to speak, we realize that that enemy is smaller than we think. So, happy St. Nicholas Day. May this little Kozak story inspire you not to go to battle and more, but to put beautiful things in the world, those things that you're holding on to. And there's still time to share your gifts, your golden package of songs, and maybe someone will open it in the morning. With that, my name is Pedro Bonatto. This has been Creative Walks, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Also, if you like this little tale, I would love you to shoot me a message and check out my website tomorrow for the interview and a performance of this song. At last, the second episode of the DNA of Music will be out. Better late than later.